Good afternoon, everyone. It's Anifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. So today, how did you like my new belt? I got a new belt and I thought it was perfect for today's video because of the title. And I wonder what might have brought you to this video. So if you're wondering about the word and its bondage, this is not the sexual bondage that you might be thinking of, although I'm going to tell you it will also apply to the video that I'm going to be talking about today, or the details that I'll be talking about with you today. Bondage is a word that has been used a lot and is used a lot in spirituality. And this term is about the mind's bondage. So rather than using bondage, because you know how important language is to me, I will use something more like held back or chained or enslaved or that sort of idea, because that would be, to me, a better way of using this term today, since it's got so many connotations that are in that sexual perspective today, right? At the same time, because this language is used so much in spiritual tradition, now you know that it's more about linking the idea with the mind and how we're just chained to things, right? It's big. This is a lot of control that our mind has. And this was my contemplative time today. So I thought I'd share a couple of quotes with you. The first one is by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, and this is from the Bhagavad-Gita and his particular interpretation of it, his commentary. And this quotation says, "For man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from the sense objects is the cause of liberation." So you can imagine sense objects is what we're talking about. So again, bondage, right? So again, whether you think about tied to sexuality, for example, there are sex addictions out there, right? But there are also food addictions. There are also substance addictions. There are also work addictions. There are also lifestyle addictions, right? I have to have this, so I have to earn more money. So there's money addictions. And there's, again, the movement, there's a restlessness, right? So I got to be doing something or I don't feel comfortable. All of these are different mind attachments and addictions, right? And it creates this bondage, or I'm going to say holding back of ourselves and our fullness of ourselves. And I thought, wow, well, here we're talking about liberation. You might have heard me talk about this before. And we think about things like liberation and realization and enlightenment. And this all seems all very flowery and very nice, right? And probably people who believe in many lives would think, yeah, I understand the concept, kind of. I'm not sure if I really believe it. And that's fine. There's a lot of people that are looking to feel free, right? So when we think about things that are binding us, we will see that it's more related to finite things, right? So I can earn money today, but I'll be using it to, whether I pay for bills or pay for vacation, I'm using it, right? So it's dead, so it's finite. There's only a certain amount of it. If I have any sort of mental addiction to something, I've got to do this work. And once that work is done, it's done, right? I have to eat this food. And once that food is done, even I'm looking forward to dinner tonight, but when that dinner is done, it's done, right? It's done. Those are finite things. And there are some things that are infinite. And I thought I'd help bring your focus and attention right now to those things that are infinite. So when we think about freedom or liberation, that's infinite, right? Imagine that feeling of, wow, I've never been addicted to food. And it feels so good to just have that freedom, because I can see someone else who might have really strong cravings for something. And let's not deny that I have had cravings sometimes. At the same time, I know that I can have that craving and be done with it. It's again finite, so I don't get attached to it, right? Then we can think about things like vacations. Some people love their vacations. And if they're not able to travel right now, especially in COVID time, there's a real heart break that's happening, right? Because I think, If I could only travel, I'd be okay. And that's an illusion because remember, travel finishes too. It's also finite. Peace, on the other hand, is infinite, right? So, of course, I would direct you towards mindfulness and meditation to get to places of peace. But anything can bring us there, right? You could listen to a peaceful song. You could listen to birds chirping. I love doing that. You could watch your pet. You could pet your pet. You could enjoy your home, right? And you can just be choosing mindfully to be in a space of peace. Love is like that too, right? So I'm not talking about hot, passionate love. I'm talking about love, like where you can look at your child, for example, with just a loving appreciation for that child, or your pet, same thing, or a plant, or your home, or your parent, or your friend, or yourself, or your higher self, right? That I love that something is always looking out for me being okay, right? The fact that I can breathe through the night when I don't have to think about breathing is so beautiful, right? So, again, some people are aware of past lives, future lives, and I certainly am or feel I am. And some people are not, and some people believe in it, and some people do not. And that's all fine because if we think of one day as like a life, right? I wake up, I have my day, and then doesn't matter how fabulous my day is, I could be doing all of the things that bring me so much joy. And I could be eating all the things that bring me joy. I'll be meeting all the people that bring me joy, go all the places that I get joy from. A day ends and suddenly the body is not so energized, right? It's ready to sleep, right? So we willingly let go of all of those attachments. It doesn't matter how much I love my family or my partner or my dog, even. When I have to sleep, I have to sleep. I let go of it all, right? This is like a little mini death. When we wake up in the morning, guess what? Everything that was there yesterday is right back in my mind. Now, if I'm thinking joyful thoughts, it'll be very easy to wake up with joyful thoughts. But if all yesterday I worried about either the health of a friend or family member, or I worried about the next thing I have to do, what hasn't been done, what I have to cook, what I have to clean, anything. If there's stresses, will I get the job? Will I earn enough money to pay my bills? All of those things, whatever I was thinking about that night before, I'm going to wake up to the exact same thing. Brand new day, we could say brand new life, right? It's a fresh start, and yet whatever you carry with you is right with you. And so this feeling of liberation is really useful, that if you are able to let go, you are freeing yourself from those chains that are binding you, right? So this is, of course, what I love to encourage clients to do, and I'd love to encourage you to do today for 5 minutes after this video, by recognizing what kind of things do you hold on to and that you get really fixated on, which are really chaining you, right? So I thought that I would, of course, end with another quotation, which I thought really summarized this thinking very nicely in this short video. And this is from the Ashtavakra Gita. And some of you know that I've made an eyesight course that is available on Udemy, and it's from information from Gita and Vedantic text. And I would love for you to look into it if you find any of this interesting. But for now, I'm going to share this quotation from this Gita with you. This says, when the mind desires or grieves things, accepts or rejects things, is pleased or displeased by things, this is bondage. When the mind does not desire or grieve, accept or reject, become pleased or displeased, liberation is at hand. If the mind is attached to any experience, this is bondage. When the mind is detached from all experience, this is liberation. When there is no I, there is only liberation. Bondage appears with it. When I appears, bondage appears with it. Knowing this, it is effortless to refrain from accepting and rejecting. And this is so nice, right? So you would think, I hope that you're able to understand this, and you know I'll be posting it right under this video too. But it's a lot of thought, right? It's when we like and dislike something. We like something, we chase after. We don't like something, we avoid it, right? But when we have those awarenesses in our mind, we will always be looking for the next thing that we like. And we always be running from the next thing that we don't like, right? When we are just accepting things as they are, this is just how it is, our mind wants to put a value judgment to it. And if we can overcome that, we can let things be just as they are, period, right? And this is liberating. I read a really great way of thinking about this. And again, remember, I just mentioned how you don't have to think about past and future lives in terms of reincarnation if you don't believe that, but you can think of each day as a life, right? All of us are going through that in this life. But even if you were thinking of reincarnation, either way, I thought this was such a beautiful explanation. It says the body's destiny is death, the mind's destiny is rebirth, the soul's destiny is liberation. And I think that is so incredibly fitting. So, do you understand that the body's destiny is death? So, even if we think of sleep as death of the day that's finishing, right? That's sleep. Or it could be dying itself. That is death. The body is destined to die one day. The mind is destined to be reborn. So, remember everything you were thinking about the night before? You wake up today with all those thoughts, right? Same thing happens in terms of the mind that continues as a soul, but through the soul. And it is still having these things that it holds on to that it's near and dear, right? And then there's the soul, which is liberated. So the liberation of the soul is allowing this freedom. And this is why in Advaita Vedanta, or non dual thinking, it's all about you can be liberated today, right? This is the time that you can say, I don't need to be attached to this. I can let go of this, right? I can be free. I can be free. So I wish you freedom today. I hope you understood this video. I know it was a little bit of a deep one, and I hope that it is meaningful to you. I wish you a fantastic day ahead, and I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great day, everyone.